Jim. He's dead.
I'm Stephen Cadwell. Welcome to Improv Autopsy. This is part 2 of my interview with the incomparable Brian Kapell. I'll read you some of his bio from a conference in Prague from 2024 this time around. Brian Kapell has been performing, directing, producing, and teaching improv comedy and theater for over 40 years and is one of the founders of short-form improv comedy performance. He is a founding member of the performing groups Comedy Sports and Comedy Shorts Berlin, and built and operated the Laughing Lizard comedy clubs in the USA and Germany, launching the careers of Dave Chappelle, Patton Oswalt, Wanda Sykes, and many others. Brian worked with many of the professional theaters of the deaf in the USA, culminating in the Tony-nominated Broadway revival of the musical Big River. Now, aren't you glad you're listening? Here's part 2 of Brian Kapell's Improv Autopsy. Did COVID have much of an impact on the community there? And there was...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, there's definitely been a contraction in sort of comedy sports franchises across the country. I think that was largely due to COVID. I know Chicago Comedy Sports ceased to exist. They lost that space. They're back, but it's a different group running it, and they're running it at I.O., however often, not as often as it used to be. But it was a great space.
It was a great room. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great club. Wow.
So that kind of things happened over here. But what effect or what happened over there?
Yeah. Wow. What a shutdown that was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got online. We did a lot of online shows for, we did online shows for the Comedy Cafe. And, we had people donate money to the Comedy Cafe. That's what we did with our shows. We still got together. Like I did a whole slew of workshops with the acting company online on plot lines, like the major plot lines in stories. And I based it on a couple great books that I follow quite a bit. And so how do you craft a good adventure improv story? A temptation story, a rivalry, underdog, all of these major plot lines. How do we do it in sort of a 3-act structure in 5 minutes? And so we did a lot of workshopping on that over online, kept us thinking about it. It was tough, man. It's a crappy time, man, for live performance, for all service industries, for our yoga studios.
Yeah.
I mean, our yoga studios, we went online to, for some industries like yoga, it was actually, that became now, doing online classes. That's actually a pretty cool other way to work that we adapted the studios to do. We did lose a studio. We had 3 studios here in Berlin, and now we only have 2. That's okay. But it was a tough time, and glad it's done.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was in the U.S., really, for those theaters that are just hanging on by a thread anyway, who might be getting some small public support, government support, whatever. Here, theaters are subsidized. All of them almost, basically. Well, comedy clubs are not. Although, I mean, everyone could apply. Everyone, I mean, yeah. Comedy Cafe, we all applied for government support money during that time, kept places alive. It was really, I got to say, the government stepped up and did do what they could. In fact, kept people alive here. So we won't go into politics, but I will say that the government, the German government, they did take a step up and took care of things. But it was a strange, weird policy, to shut the whole world down as well. But okay, that said, I mean, I work at a school, and teaching online was really weird. But what I did, interestingly enough, at that time for myself, is that's when I got my teaching degree. Even though I was teaching university in the States, I couldn't teach children here. So I needed to get one credential, and I did that during COVID. I could see it I could see it. So this is a good opportunity, a good time for me to study and write papers. And so I did that. And when I came out of COVID, then I was ready to get class times. And that's when I opened the club, the Laughing Lizard here, and got the full-time job teaching.
So the hiatus you took with Comedy Shorts, that was post-pandemic.
Right. Yeah, it was probably 23, sometime in 23 to about 25. Yeah, we were shut down for about 2 years. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to do it again.
Yeah.
I really didn't. We got invited to do a show for the John F. Kennedy School, which is a very famous German American school here, the John F. Kennedy School. And we got invited to do a show there for, some party event. And so I got got the band together again, and we got together. We had a show, and we had so much fun. It was so great to see each other because hadn't seen each other really. We don't get together. They said, you know what, we should really do this again. And I'm like, do you guys really want to do this again? And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And so that was the summer, and then so we've been back. We've been back now since summer.
Nice.
It's great to play again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can fit that in. I mean, we gotta get practicing more. We got to get this new training growing. Like I said, that'll be exciting. But hopefully, I'm not going to dilute my time so much. And yet, it deserves it. A lot of improv here in Berlin. Groups get together once a week, and then they perform as once a month, and whatever. There's a lot of committed improv teams here in Berlin, almost doing exclusively long form, but there's a lot of groups here now. I mean, it's uncountable how many groups. And there's places, there's clubs in English speaking comedy clubs dedicated to improv now. And if you look online, you can see that this comedyinenglish.de, my friend built this. There's no less than 10 shows every night in Berlin in English every night. Stand-up shows, showcases, improv, sketch, all in English. And that's a real testament to this community. I mean, there's a lot of people who've stepped into the English comedy here and make it their life. I'm real proud of that. And it's not like I didn't have much to do with it, but I mean, there was a bunch of seeds that I got to plant. And I'll be honestly, all the short form teams that are here, the games they're playing are the games that are only the ones that I've shown. I really, there's so many games I know that they don't play because I haven't shown them to Berlin yet. I mean, there's so many. We'll see if I can get to them this round. There's so many more games I know.
Has it translated at all into, are there German-speaking improv groups out there as well? And are there any short-form German teams?
Oh, there's long-form German teams. German. They don't play short-form in Germany. Well, I mean, they do theater sports. Yeah, so it's short-form, shortish form.
Yeah.
And then there's long-form teams. It's a very solid improv scene here in Berlin, especially. I only know Berlin, but all the cities have. I'm afraid I can't speak for it, but I know Munich has an English-speaking team. I know Hamburg has an English-speaking team. I don't know if they're still up, but yeah, it's alive and well.
You need to get your Comedy Shorts network going and have intercity competition.
I know. I'm working on it. But you're right. There's more to do. It's just how do I spread myself thinner? When I think of coming to Berlin and being a Jew here and having my little Jew boy kids, and it's really a bittersweet thing here. It's very profound, to say I run yoga studios, I run comedy shows, I teach drama at a high school, and I've got two great boys who are making their marks. It's like it's a very meaningful, juiced up life here. So I just thought I'd mention to anyone who's listening, grab the bull by the horns anytime, every time. It's so worth it to take a chance, take the risk. I think my dad would be real proud. He was a sad person, and to say, in spite of that, Dad, I'm going to make the world laugh. It's an honor to him. It's to honor my dad. To say I'm not going to be like him. I'm not going to be that. I'm going to, and my mom too, who loved seeing my shows and who loved seeing my club, and to Dick, who showed so many of us a way of play and camaraderie that's so crucial to a well-lived life. Yeah, they're really important. These carries a lot of chutzpah in me. It's a lot of goodness from them. Sorry, I got a little sentimental, but
No, not at all.
as I was saying, I think I told you this beforehand. I think improvisers are quite sentimentalists. I mean, I think we look around at the things that happened to us before, and we're trying to reincorporate them into the story into the now, because that's what a good improviser does is reincorporates. And I think that's just a general. I think that's a general quality that we got to that life does give us the opportunity to do. How does it all add together? Is a really good question, and I love doing that. Even if you can't rhyme it
Yeah.
or whatever, change characters.
I do love that, as you look at the story of your life that you've outlined here, the sadness isn't the through line, it's the joy.
Mm,
And the sadness very well could have been the thing that glommed onto you, but it was the joy that you've taken to all those places, and the joy that not only that you carried with you, but that you instilled in others as well via theater, via your interactions with the deaf community, via improv. All these things is instilling joy into people and not burdening them with sadness or
yeah,
which is a very cool thing.
I mean, we all struggle with it. We all deserve to feel grief and sad,
Yeah.
and don't be dishonest with yourself. But we are survivalists, and laughter somehow is hardwired into us as a survival tool, or else we would have just gone postal, all of us, and just wrecked our world. But somehow laughter is an instinctual thing that spreads, much like a yawn. But laughter carries and carry. It can be. It's a funny, weird, hardwired thing, and there's got to be something about that is a pretty cool survival skill. And so maybe that's all it is. This is just a survival, and we're just helping people, give them another perspective, another way to look at something,
Yeah.
another breath. And laugh at yourself. The ability to laugh at yourself and your idiocy. To the ridiculous things we'll do, to make a point or to be right or to, oh God, we are so funny. I think it's charming. It's so charming how how cute that is. I mean, I teach kids now to get what they want in drama. That's the thing, is what is the motivation? What's the objective? What will you do to get what you want? And because I don't think teaching drama is always, it's not the script analysis and all, but it is. But the point is getting to what's a character want right now? What do you want, and how are you going to get it? And then I say, so how many of you won that argument after an exercise or something? How many of you got it? And how many of you didn't? How many of you are just not getting what you want on a routine? And you get a few, because those are the ones I really want to work with. These are the kids that really need some strengthening, some improv training to learn how to communicate, to learn how to listen. Listening is so vital, and then arming them with a multitude of tactics, a multitude of ways to get things done. It's a good life. I've been waiting my whole life to probably do this phase of my life. To do it, to teach kids Commedia dell'arte and Shakespeare and all these things. I was so trained to perform and study Stanislavski, all of this stuff. Brecht. Now I can teach it to kids and improv. It's a great time. It's a great time to be alive. Sorry to. Now I'm kind of gloating, but I love what I do.
Uh, no problem. Let's switch gears a little bit and see if we can make it through these questions I've got. How do you get into the proper headspace to play?
We do a bunch of warm ups where it's just group mind effort, group mind work that really gets us listening, really listening hard, clicking off of each other. That's rhythm. That's a very yes world. And then we start doing platforming. I really believe in just giving 3-line drills, 4-line drills, where for short form, it's about getting that the who, the what, the where, why is this day important? What's your emotional state? What's the status? All of that done in 4 lines. Yeah, so we call it platforming. That gets me ready. That gets me ready to play. I need that. I used to have to just like do, I don't know, driving rhyming games, but I don't do those. I mean, I do that when I'm driving. I just do stuff. I play games all the time in my head. But with group, it's about getting group mind, then platforming, then a convergence game, and then hug each other and say, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back, and pat them on the back and then go.
What is your favorite your favorite ask?
I kind of like a dangerous place to go, a dangerous place to be. Yeah. I also like a garage sale or a yard sale object that's just sort of sitting there and no one will buy. No one's bought. Yeah. Those are two I tend to get psyched by. Sometimes I have to preface it. It's like, something like, like a dangerous place, like a volcano, because I don't want to hear of another volcano.
Yeah.
I tend to try to get either a location, an occupation, or an object when I go for general asks. Yeah. One of those three. And then how do I get one of those three? It's that. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not asking for what is an object you find at a yard sale that illustrates the human condition.
No, I don't. I don't ask for that. But but I should know. And the thing is, and the thing that I try to do is it's not literal. Whatever the ask is, you don't always have to say be that doesn't have to be your opening line validate.
Yeah.
Got to teach kids. You got to everyone's a kid to me. You got to help student players realize that when that suggestion can fit in, it's just to give you that the direction. It doesn't have to be literal, but it does have to be there. You do want to let that inform the first beat.
I love what you said about using suggestions as a way to understand what the audience wants to laugh about, because I think that's a great way to think of it too. People do struggle sometimes with using the suggestions or feeling tied to the suggestion. And it's like, well, it's cluing us into where the audience mind is at.
Yep.
And that's enough. Then we have something to go on. We understand what it is they're wanting to laugh about.
That's right. And you definitely got to go and hunt if you're the referee or you got to find that you got to go to the people who are not yelling out the suggestions. You got to calmly, quietly, politely get to people who are not yelling things out and address them and say, just ask them for that one little ask. Some people are there to yell. I'm going to yell out everything. And then most of the crowd, they need to be approached, not just asked. You got to approach people and get their suggestions because you just need to come to them a little bit too.
You mentioned saying like a volcano. Is that your favorite way, or do you have another favorite way to burn a suggestion that doesn't inspire you?
Yeah, I pretty much do it like in the ask. If I say, give me can we have what is your parents' job? But let's not go with a dentist, for example. We get a bunch of those. You got to get them. There are a bunch of suggestion sheets out there that will help us get more interesting suggestions. They've been created over time. I can always direct you to them because you need to get them to actually think of the second thing sometimes and not just go with the first thing they think of. And sometimes you go with the first thing you hear. I remember that was our big rule with us in comedy sports at the beginning. Go with the first thing you hear. But I've learned that that's not necessarily true. You can actually say, get a couple. And not every time, or else people are just, oh, God, no, you don't like that one? Oh, you don't like. But if you just heard it, okay, that's a good one. How about a couple others? But you can't just hear one more then. You got to hear two. Just two. Just give me two more. Because one more, and then you get another option. You got two options. Because then you're putting a lot on the spot on that second one. So better get a third. In a comedy sports show, if I counted the amount of suggestions, it would be mind-blowing how many times I go when I'm reffing, how many times I go to the audience for ideas. Man, just the amount of material that we cull from them, it's quite remarkable. Whereas in long form, give us a word and then shut up.
Yeah.
And I'm like a little bit like, I get it, but I'm much more into the interactive element of the show.
Yeah.
That's kind of what still draws me over. Yeah.
That's one of the things I really love about short form and what I learned at SAC as well was the audience is very important. And that relationship between on stage and the audience is also very important. And the suggestions really bring them in and make them a part of the show, not just spectators.
May I just say that was the concept behind the laughing lizard concepts. It's a very interactive. I call it intratainment. I would just not only entertainment where we're going to be entertaining you. It's intratainment. It's what do you want to laugh? How can you entertain yourself? So I would fill the clubs with games and allow people to write and put hanging markers in the bathrooms and just let them write on the walls and just get them to interact with each other and teaching people magic trick, just a walk around magician, not just to fuck with, but to teach people how to do magic. I wouldn't have come up with that unless of comedy sports was there. It's this idea that the collaborative, interactive world, it really resonates with me. It's what Vygotsky, when I started studying education, there's this Russian, he was a director and just an education specialist, Vygotsky, and he really would, and I'm going to be misquoting, of course, but the idea is that learning is a social act. And that's absolutely the most, you can read a book and you can learn. It's not that you can't learn from a book, but the social world, the social of a classroom, the social, this is where we learn. And it's, I totally believe that. And it's where we thrive. It's another, this language, this ability to share is our gift. So Vygotsky. Give it up for Vygotsky.
Well, all of that being said about suggestions and whatnot, is there a suggestion that you is your least favorite, something you get often and would rather not hear other than volcano?
Well, when I'm roughing, I will never, you really won't hear me say, can I hear a relationship between two people? However, the relationship is everything in a story. It's what makes a story memorable is the relationship arc.
Yeah.
It's what happens between and how a relationship changes. So even though I don't like asking for a relationship, it is the most intriguing part of a story to me. The human side of it that I love the most. So I don't know why I don't like asking for a relationship. I think because I get boss employee or father son. I'll get to the relationship, but I need something around that, and I'll get to the relationship based on another suggestion. Yeah, something that I can bite into, and then the relationship will circle it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I also feel like whenever I've gotten or the suggestion has been father son or coworkers, for me it's like, well, that tells us how these people know each other, but it doesn't tell us the relationship. A relationship is more than just how we're related. So it's not father son, it's estranged son and preoccupied father or whatever. That tells me more.
Yeah.
That's the dynamic we can play.
Yeah, you got to get to the grit of it. Yeah. It's always the adjectives that make this meaty, or in a vegan sense, a vegan meat, whatever it is. Yeah, of course. Predictable. I mean, John Stone would always say, normal is fine. Average is just fine. I challenged him on that, and I said, "Well, but don't you want to hear? What's that twist between them?" And goes, "Oh yeah, that should come out. That definitely has to be brought through." And then it became another big discussion about, well, how do we get that founded? And he would get to, you got to load it. You got to just load it with it's all in the feeding of the fire there. You got to just start planting all those little pieces. So it's an estranged son. You just got to immediately take that and give it the hook so that it has more spice. Yeah. Making up past history is, I think, vital. I don't like doing stories that are strangers. I mean, not that strangers don't meet, but I really value creating history immediately between people, because then the stakes are always right away higher, and finding out, so now what's going to go down? Why is this day important? Why is this the story they need to tell the audience?
Yeah. What do you look for in an audience volunteer?
Just a willingness to do it. I mean, Yeah, we just did a bunch of that in our December show. I just decided it was going to be all about audience participation games. A lot of them didn't even know what the game was, so I thought that was quite brave of people. You can see one that they're not drunk. That's important. That's valid. I think that's pretty
Yep,
good.
yep.
I've had drunk volunteers, and they're like, "Yikes!" We're just laughing at them, and that's not fun. Yeah, and not stoned, not high, because the dopies just you got to be listening. You can't be drifting. Okay, at least I was quite a pothead. Weed does not help improv. It does not. It just does not help my improv ever. I honor that quite a bit. That they're not rocking from feet. This is the things that I don't want to see so much, that they're just go to the nervousness of being up there. I mean, we're all nervous. I mean, I'm nervous when I'm up there, but I love the nerves. I like seeing that it matters to them, and that it matters that they're brave enough to take the risk. The what the hell. James Bailey from Comedy Sports LA, he has that very major famous rule that he would say to me. He goes, I try to think of something. Should I do it or should I not? I go, oh, what the hell? What the hell? And then he does it. It's like, yeah, that's right. What the hell? So when a person just goes, oh, what the hell? And just gets on up and says, I'm in,
Yeah.
I can say you're on. Yeah, they're on. Women. Men tend to be a little bit more assertive in their volunteering. I will be very honest. The first cores of a lot of companies, it was a very men centric. Berlin is building a very solid female collective of improvisers, and I love that. I love that very much. It really shows a different gusto of woman power here, and that's nice too.
Describe your onstage persona. Is onstage Brian different than regular everyday Brian?
I do flip on an incredible performer persona, I would say, especially if I'm reffing. And if I'm reffing, it's easy job reffing for me. I run a very tight show, but I have a very clear power driver. There's no downtime. It's very tight. At least I try to run a tight show. I'm very vibrant. I really want to connect to the people in the back of the room, getting suggestions all from people who are not giving suggestions, from the people who don't yell things more in their life more. As a player, it's whatever's needed, but the stepping downhill like you're on skis, leaning forward so that you start the slide. It's so important. It's so important to just go lean and go and just dig your poles in and drive. Yeah. I don't know if that changes my persona. People enjoy seeing me up there, they say. I mean, I'm old. I'm definitely the oldest person up there. I'm definitely the one with the most experience, maybe in the city, at 40 years of this. That must show some. There must be some evidence of that. That I hope I got something to offer still. That I'm still playfully involved. Yeah. So that's my persona is balls to the wall. Let's go for it. Yeah. But that's me anyway.
What inspires you on stage?
Curveballs. I love playing with people who are just going to throw weird shit at me. I think, at least. I think I like that. I like to think I like that. Just excellent listening, a good status switch. I do like a plot, not another love story plot line. A plot line that's about something else. Yeah, that jazzes me. The plot line, real narratives we can get a whole story done, and it was just 5 minutes long. That jazzes me when I can really see Act One, Act Two, Act Three, and yet we're doing it backwards or whatever we're doing it, whatever way. Yeah, that pumps me.
Is there anything that shuts you down or takes you out of it on stage?
Creepy racism, sexism, bullying, people who are players who are just bulldozing their way through the scene without listening, of course. Yeah, people who just got to have their story. It's their story, and even though that's not the way the story is going, but their contribution is gonna be pushed, even though that's not really what the main line is. I mean, we're all guilty of it at the times, but yeah, just not listening. I can't imagine anything more irritating than someone who's not listening well.
I can
Yeah.
I think I can guess what the answer to this one will be then, but in your estimation, what makes a good scene partner?
Ding. Yeah, a champion listener, just a really engaged listener, a maneuverer, a person who's reincorporating every little piece that's been brought to the table so far and then putting a little advance on it. A really good player, a weirdo, a person who's a bit weird. Yeah, yeah. A really good pantomimist, a really good object worker, just coming from deaf theater, someone who's just doing object work, not behavioral work, but really physical object work. That's very intriguing and can be really, really fun to work with. And someone who's not afraid to change locations, change times, time jumps, location change, and things like that. That's a creative soul up there. And I like that. And I don't like being stuck in a location if it doesn't belong. If we're trying to move the story up, a person who brings immediacy, like something really like it's got to be. We got to figure this out because it's really important that this gets solved or this gets done or it's someone who's not just being the antagonist, being that thing that's preventing the story, who's in the way. It doesn't always have to be a bad guy or a bad girl. It can also be, the environment or the person's inner beast that's preventing change. I like when a person can find also plays with all of those different elements to bring in the problem.
Is there any advice you'd give to your younger self?
I guess everyone's got to find their place in it, and in life too. But I was pretty hard on myself, wanting to be the funny guy, knowing that there were funnier people up there. But I think I mentioned earlier that I was a good technician. I kind of saw myself as a technical, seeing what that's needed, and I guess standing up for that side, stand up for what you're strong at, and stand up for it, and know and be able to if I would tell myself to say, yeah, I'm good at this part of it, and it's vital, and don't shortchange your contribution. It took me a while to kind of come to that.
What is your favorite type of character to play?
I love playing women. I do. I love playing women. I like playing high status because I'm not a high status person in real life. So it gives me a challenge to kind of live that with some more chutzpah, a little more power, playing a high status character because I'm not one really. I don't play high status in life. Yeah, funny. It's the things that I'm not. I'm not a woman, but I love playing women. Yeah, when you get to play the archetypes that you don't normally associate yourself with. I do a lot of work with archetypes in my training and in my teaching. And the wonderful teacher director of mine convinced us that we are all the archetypes. We can play all of them. That we are just a vessel for all the archetypes. So you must find them in us, and we must find them in ourselves. But those voices don't always have a voice. You don't can't always find the that voice in your everyday.
Yeah.
But if I get to put them up on stage, that's great. That's a powerful place.
So is that then exploring aspects of yourself that you can't explore in real life or exploring things that aren't really a part of you?
Ooh, well, that aren't really don't have a real voice in my everyday. Yeah, yeah. I mean, apparently, if I was to, I'm not a Don Juan archetype. I'm really not. But I am with one fireball of a Brazilian lady now, who's been my partner now for 5 years, 6 years almost. Apparently, I got some game. And my ex-wife, she's really really tall and very very beautiful, amazing. It's just so apparently I have it, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So there must be. It just gives have getting to find the voice, and that's how I call it. Is finding its voice on stage is a great place to get it to realize that yeah, I am that too. I guess so. Yeah.
If you could do a scene with anyone living, who would it be?
I mean, I'd love to get on stage with TJ and Dave. I mean, that would be just with one of them. That'd be, or Middleton and Schwartz, one of those guys. They're just tremendous improvisers, and they can be so brilliant for different reasons. I'd love to get up with my old guys again, the old friends from the original core again. Man, it would be great to be up there with Kramer and Short and Mark Kirby and the team. That would be bring it back again. Do one more show with the comedy sports band, the Gomers. Yeah, that's that's truth, boy. Beth Arnold, bless her heart. All these great players. Andy Wallman, some of the funniest people I've ever met. Be able to do a show with Dick again. Those were beautiful to see to get up on stage with him.
If you could do a scene with anyone who's no longer with us, who would it be?
I mean, I'd love to play with Chaplin. I would love to play with
Yeah.
Chaplin. Yeah. Yeah. He would be a great just to watch his silence films, just to work his business, to see what he would in those those great years, see what would happen together, what kind of banter would occur. Danny Kaye would be tremendous to play with. He just seems to be a really wonderful spirit, to name a couple.
Okay, last switch up for this question. If you could do a scene with anyone fictional, who would it be?
One of my favorite films would be Metropolis, and I can't even remember her lead role, but the woman who turns into the robot. She was a great silent actress, and then she becomes the robot. And I'd love to do a scene with her. This character that she played. She was such a wonderful femme fatale, and then she becomes this evil. This she becomes possessed, and not just yeah, she becomes but also a humanized robot. Both sides of her are just great. I would love to do a scene with that. I would love to play with that. It's my favorite film ever.
What is it that you find most helpful from the tech in the booth?
Could it be music?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like incidental music during scenes. Piano, keyboard player who's giving me some mood work from behind, giving me some interesting mood that I wouldn't have, giving the audience the mood, feeding that, and then having me work within it. Same way with a musical, just a keyboard player who can give me great chords to sing along to and a great body of chords that I can sing in and rock with. Whatever it makes the song build and progress and then change. A really good keyboardist is so vital,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah, sound effects.
Other than laughter, what's an audience sound that you revel in?
I just love it when I ask everyone at the beginning of a game, if I'm reffing, I say, repeat after me. We are not a cult. Go. We are not a cult. And they start, we are not a cult. We are not a. It's so ridiculously funny to me. Especially in Berlin, where, cult is kind of has some weight in this town. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything more joyous than laughter. If they if
Yeah,
I tell
yeah.
them what the score is, it's 25-24, and they just automatically go when it starts getting close. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I don't have to like prod them to do the ooh. That could be fun.
Is there a sound that the audience could make that would make you uncomfortable?
I don't like being booed. I don't. I mean, even in audience voting, I don't like being booed. I don't think players deserve to be booed. even if they don't get a score, they don't get applaud. Okay, applause. If you're going to vote for one team or the other, fine, but don't boo the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the worst venue you've played?
Oh man. I do recall one time back in Washington D.C. This is probably 87, 88. We got invited to do some gigs out in Annapolis, Maryland, and we drove for we had to drive this like an hour and a half to get to this venue that we would try to do, and it was like a bar that had like a mirror dance floor, and we were going to do this, a dance floor with mirrors all around it and everything. And people didn't pay to be there, or they were supposed to pay, but they didn't control the door at all, of course. So all these just regulars come in and they want to drink, and we're trying to do an improv show, and they're just no one. They're just talking. People are just talking because it's just a bar, right? And there's some people who are there for the show. Most people are not. A lot of people are not. And I remember just we were playing. I think we were playing some head-to-head game, and somebody said, doing push-ups or something, and I just dropped to the floor to do a push-up, and I just remember smacking my head so hard on the floor, I gave myself a concussion. I just remember the stars, and everyone heard it. Everyone heard that smack of my head against the floor, and I just came up, and I just, dizzy as hell. That was awful. That was an awful night. But I do want to mention one other for a different reason. Back in 2008, and we were performing a couple gigs for the election night, and when we did one for some election group, it was really fun at the American House, and then we went to the Babylon Theater, which is this huge theater. It's huge theater. We were asked to do our improv up on this stage during the election results, and there's like a 6-hour time zone change, so it's like 4 a.m, and we get called up to the stage to do another set, and it's like, we're wondering, who's it going to be? Is it going to get onto it? And we're like, okay, comedy, whatever, you're up, Live Olympus, you're up, and we're like, no, we can't get up now. There's no way we're more important than the elections right now. And so but you're up. And you're like, oh God, okay. So we're like trudging up. We have our wireless microphones. We're like, give me a suggestion. We're gonna do a story for you. And you're like, get off this. This is about to be Obama's night. You get on. We're like, yeah, and okay, and hey, and just like every cliche of bad improv moment that you can imagine came up, and it's like, just get off. We don't. Yes, and go. This is about to, and it's sure enough. We're like, oh, fine, you're right. Thank you. We're out of here. And literally like a minute later, they announced Obama won. And it was the most beautiful moment. But just being up against Obama's election, that was a pretty big ask. Those are two pretty lousy moments, but I mean, in different ways.
The competition you didn't think you'd ever be able to win was going up.
I was not going to win that one, and it was 4 a.m. Yeah. We were we had been drinking and tired, and it was fun.
It seems to me like there's a little bit of a through line that you like scene partners who listen, and you also like an audience that listens. So I can
yes,
listening.
Give me an audience. It's good listeners. Yes, that aren't too whack. I mean, here, because we're working with a non-English speaking audience a lot, most of our players are not native English speakers. That's important to know. I would say, I remember at my last show, there were, of the 8 of us, 2 of us were native English speakers. 7 of them, 6, they're not native English speakers. I mean, that's just a remarkable difference in what most people experience, I think, in improv over there in America. And it kind of harkens back to my world of the deaf, about listening, that incredible listening. But it's here too. If you go too fast, non-native speakers can't keep up. If you're overlapping, if you're talking on top of each other, a non-native English speaker will have a difficulty discerning what you're saying. So it's still it's a big part of the effort here is to control yourself as an actor so that the characters can actually talk to each other with clarity.
What is the best note or the best words of wisdom you've received?
Dick would always say, "When in doubt, listen." And I think Keith Johnston told me once, I can't remember exact words, but it was about status. I teach a lot of status workshops here, or I try. But it's all from his book. His book was so important to me. This first book, that improv book. But he was just make a status choice. Make a choice. Define your status and play for that. That was so. Those 2 points, I would say.
Is there or can you point to a least helpful note you've received? Or if not that one that you've received, what's the least helpful note you can conceive of?
Don't fuck up. I always tell new players that. It's always whenever a new player is about to do their first show, I go, "Hey, by the way, don't fuck up." I mean, are you kidding? Try to fuck up, really. Try to screw up, man. There's no harm in going for it. Yeah. I mean, another helpful note, really helpful, obviously, is to slow it down, because our form can be quite frenetic and
Yeah.
chaotic, and finding the story is really vital. A note that I don't need, though, I mean, it's such an arc of history to think about the difference in our playing styles now than they are here now in Berlin 40 years later, when we would be, for example, like a homosexual character would be really over the top. We would play them really flamey, and now that's just not a good choice. I think that's really important that we start seeing the world for its changes. On the other hand, I got to premise it. I mean, we would get give us a foreign language, and we would get some foreign language, gibberish language, and we would try to do gibberish in that kind of a language, and we didn't think it was problematic to do bad Chinese.
Right.
Now, can't do it. Now it's distasteful to make up Chinese, but we're doing it in gibberish. We're just trying to give it that essence. I can't say whether it's good or bad. I just do know that there's an evolution, and I have to be insightful. I have to be respectful to the evolution. I must adapt too. So if it's now off-putting for me to do a Chinese gibberish, okay, I can't do a Chinese gibberish anymore. But it does stop me from wanting to. I want to. I want to. I really do. I would love to just go for it, but I can't now. So that kind of changes your question a little bit, but it does kind of give a sense of how things have changed.
So if I attempted to distill this a little bit, for you, one of the worst notes to give to someone or to receive would be, don't pay any attention to the audience or your other players. Say everything that you want to say and do it as fast as you can.
That would be it. Yeah. And do it with a Chinese accent.
Yeah.
I mean, we're supposed to be able to, no boundary. We're supposed to be able to take it, but the way of sensitivity and empathy has become a driver for what we can do. And fair enough, we need to be able to be aware. But I can still do a bad French accent, apparently.
Yeah.
I can do European accents. That's okay. But I can't leave the continent.
Yeah.
I could do a gibberish Italian and it would be okay. If I would try to do, I'm not going to rip into an bad African accent, I'd be admonished for it. Okay, I won't. I mean no harm,
Yeah.
but apparently and we could talk. This would be a whole nother podcast. Is cultural limitations of the form.
And it's more perception than intent, right? Because intent hasn't changed, but perception has.
Yes, yes, yes. Perception towards respect for the individuals. I mean, respect is everything.
Yeah.
I like to think that I respect everyone. So is it disrespectful? Okay, then it's disrespectful on a bigger scale than I can measure.
Yeah.
Maybe, just as a Jew, you can do Hitler jokes with me. You can do it. I'm way beyond that stuff. I've been here, whatever, 25 years, whatever, 22 years. As a Jew, I'm pretty resilient to Jew jokes and Holocaust jokes and all that. I've heard a lot of it. I've heard a lot of stand up. Stand up does, stand ups. It's an area of stand up that just for some reason does not cross over into improv. You can't be coarse on an improv stage. Maybe there are groups that do. I don't know them. I don't know them that actually get away with it as well. I mean, I know there were blue night in America. I don't know if they're really going blue. I mean, as blue as so the rule changes a bit with improv versus stand up in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah. If there were an Academy Awards for everything improv, what would you be nominated for?
Oh, I imagine it's something to do with physical object work, and games were gibberish like Three Things. I don't know if you know the game Three Things or Five Things. Some teams play five. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at it, mostly because I'm from the deaf theater. I mean, I can pantomime quite well. I have the language skill of in my hands here that I was quite good at. So there'd be something with a physical comedy award. Maybe it's something about being old up there, being old, but actually being the youngest at the same time. I don't know. Sometimes when I get up on stage, I feel like I'm a 20-year-old again.
If you are remembered 100 years from now for something improv related, what would you want it to be?
Well, I guess there's something valid to the idea that longevity, yeah, something to do with the longevity of it, the arc of the long game. After 40 years, and I've seen number of my friends stay the course too. These 40 years, I have a number of friends who loved it and played it for a while and now do something else. There's been some critique here, Berlin, I would say, where I dropped the ball during the difficult years where I'm only human. So I guess and the fact that Berlin is now such a vibrant improv community that though there'll be something that would say that would be able to recognize that it just takes one to start a fire.
Yeah.
I mean, but that needs everyone else to join and put in the kindling to make it really burn. I'm quite proud of this community that it's so vibrant. I can sit in an audience, and of course, nobody knows me. I'm just there, and I'm watching some bunch of my friends playing, and just to be in silent revelry of the fact that all of this happened because my two players went on to open up this venture, this, and then the other one. Both of the theaters were used to be my. I trained them, and they used to work for me, and then they went on and opened up their own venues, and they run classes and they run shows, and that's that's really wonderfully. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's humbling. And when in my worst days, I can be like, why doesn't everybody recognize me? In my best days, the generosity and the gratitude is just epically, just glows. And I can just silently sit and glow. Same thing with the yoga community. I can be in a yoga room, and same way, this of knowing that we're part of something that is bigger than us. I love to see that comedy sports is still around. I love seeing the DC team still playing after it's been every weekend since 1988, maybe or seven. I can't remember. I think 87 or 88. Every weekend since 88 or 87. Every weekend.
Yeah.
More than just weekend, that is still going after our little startup and our hard work. And a lot of us have praised Dick Chudnow over history. I really hope if and when I get to heaven, Dick will show me around. He really gave a lot of joy. He's given a lot of joy to a lot of people, and he's such a cute little wonderful guy. And we're so grateful to have him, to have had him, shine on us when he did. Yeah, those are a couple people I want to have by me.
And I just want to throw out there as well. I know, I mean, you've definitely got some tangible things that you can point at and say, this, I was responsible for this. Without me, this wouldn't have happened. Those kinds of things, which are amazing. But there are also countless, innumerable synonyms, but people whose lives you've touched that you'll never know. Because I know I've had people, a former student or someone came up to me once and said something that just dawned on me that, like, there are so many people out there, because you've been doing this as long as you have, because you've done this in so many different places, because you've been a teacher to so many different students. And that's the theater community as well as the improv community, which are, there's a Venn diagram there, but there are people that you'll never know that you changed the trajectory of their lives because of the class that they took with you.
Mm-hmm.
That those are people that we'll never know. So
Yep.
the ripples are ever increasing and moving outward. So for what it's worth.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's very true. We're in the middle of our own little hurricane. We're just this a little eye, and I do got to say, there's a hurricane around me,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are part of that hurricane too. I can't do it alone, but I do got to say I've been lucky to get to carry it, keep carrying it.
Yeah.
That's it for this interview with Brian Kapell, one of improv's answers to Johnny Appleseed, and, I imagine, another hub on my improv murder board as I seek to collect all the Bert Furschners and those adjacent. If you are in that orbit, let me know. I want to talk. Thanks for listening to Improv Autopsy.